Welcome back to another episode of CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. Today's guest isn't your run-of-the-mill tax professional. He's the guy who makes the IRS nervous. Dan Lake is the founder of Tax Equity Pros, a firm that's helped high net worth clients save over 40 million in taxes. Yes, even W-2 earners. He believes there's nothing enlightened about tipping the government, calls mortgages a scam, and knows how to turn complex solar incentives into simple money-saving moves. If you've ever wondered how to keep more of your hard-earned cash or whether the financial rules we all follow are actually myths, you're in the right place. Daniel, welcome to the show. Let's blow up some money myths.
Thanks for
Dan,
the chuckle that he thinks mortgages are a scam. Okay, if that ain't clickbait, I don't know what is, but that's we can.
no, it's good. I'm super pumped to have you on the show to dive into what you're doing. Um, I would love to know, kind of out of the gate, what first pulled you into the world of tax mitigation and solar incentives? Is this what you thought you'd be doing growing up as a young boy in Utah?
Yeah, this industry didn't exist, and and at the time, and when I was in high school, 25 years ago, but if it was, oh man, I think it checks all the boxes for me. Like I'm kind of a nonconformist at heart. Not to say that I want to break the rules for the sake of breaking the rules, but if something doesn't make sense to me, I'm I'm going to question it, and that got me in trouble when I was in school growing up. The teachers did not like my me questioning their authority just because they start with Mister or Mrs. or what have you. So anyway, yeah, I'm just a nonconformist. Like I said, I've always carved my own path. Um, but but no, this is not. I accidentally fell into this space, or rather, necessity is the mother of invention, I would say.
Yeah, amazing. Well, how did you get into this space then? It's obviously it wasn't around like you said when you were growing up. It was you kind of fell into it. You've been a maybe a rule breaker, but just looking if something doesn't make sense, you want to make the most of it, understand what's going on. How did you get into what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I've been in the solar space for the last 11 years. I started I ran a pest control company, before that, and then for about a year and a half, 2 years, I had a pest control company that was operating in 4 different states. Um, and I just randomly, met a guy on an airplane once that was telling me about solar incentives and solar that this business model, and I'm like, man, but if I'm being honest, like there's only so much satisfaction you can get in life in killing bugs. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with killing bugs. I know a lot about entomology and bugs and bug killing and that business model and things. But the solar space really interested me, I should say. And I anyways, got into sales. Got sold my pest control company in 2015. And really ran with the solar stuff. It was just so I thought it was so cool that, like, man, people could take uh, they could take these raw materials and create electricity from the freaking sun, and they could take money that was going to go to the government to to taxes, and they could put that towards their energy independence that way. Freedom and independence is probably what my is like my one of my core values that really lines up with me. And anyway, I we, as we progressed, and we had we were a EPC, which is energy. Uh, Basically, we were an installer. I won't bore your listeners with solar jargon that way. But yeah, so it became an installer. We did a bunch of commercial to off grid, some residential as well as, and learned a lot about the space. But there was a major void in the industry where there was not really good financing options available. So I'm taking a long way to get to ask your question. Like, how did I get? I know solar bug business like that has how does that have to do with the with tax mitigation strategies? I'm getting there. All right,
Hey,
just
no,
relax,
we're
Jim.
good. I'm on the edge of the
Relax. We've
seat. I
got some
brought I
time.
brought the whole seat, but I'm only using the edge right now.
Um. So but, okay. I'm just going to give a little bit of background as to why or there's some problems in the solar space in the solar industry. um, Solar does not make sense for most people. I would, I, it kind of blew my mind sometimes when I would talk to people in my neighborhood or people that and they knew that I was in the solar space, and I would ask them some questions about their roof or or their financial situation. Like it was like if somebody's a first year teacher and they're living paycheck to paycheck and they've heard that solar can save them a lot of money potentially. Okay, if somebody doesn't make enough money that they don't pay taxes, for example, then the tax credits, the incentives are not going to do them any good.
Yeah.
The other thing that's very uh, less well known in the space is just how expensive loans are in the solar space. Like if okay, let's say you get a $30,000 solar deal and or project, and you have the solar. Yet let's say you have a battery, and and that would be your cash price would be 30 grand. If you were to get a sexy 2.9%, 25-year solar loan, that would add about 30% or more to I've seen 35%, whatever, just in dealer fees and or origination fees. So that $30,000 solar uh at with a if that costs you an extra $10,000 just for you can get the sexy financing and the low monthly payment that way. And so anyway, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Why are we why are we tipping the banks? Why are we, like,
Yeah.
I'll go back to your other chuckle earlier about mortgages being a scam. I think that they are. I think that's a terrible way to pay off your house. And we don't want to, and I don't want to digress, too much about, but I mean, gosh, you have a 30-year note on a standard mortgage, on a conventional mortgage, you're paying in the first 15 years, you're paying all the interest up front. That's terrible. That's
Yeah.
anyway. There's better my anyway. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to digress too much, but there's too much. Like there's better ways to pay off your house than with or to buy a house than with a mortgage.
Interesting.
So
So
anyway,
you may have touched on it a little bit already, but I guess when or was there a moment when you realized this is a strategy almost nobody is using, but everyone needs?
I'm taking a long time to get to the point, James. Thank you for bringing me back.
It's all good. It's all good.
So no, so there was this huge void. There was yeah, I had a hard time selling solar loans because they were expensive and I didn't feel good about it. I spent the better part of 2 years, so 2018, going into 2020. I met with a bunch of different CPAs, tax attorneys, consultants in this space, and I went to them and I said, "Hey, there's got to be a better way to finance for someone to get solar." And so I designed a solar lease, or it's technically a PPA or power purchase agreement, where a homeowner could replace a $500 a month power bill with a $400 a month solar payment, and they could buy the system later on at a later date for pennies on the dollar, and the system itself would be owned by a dentist or a doctor or an attorney or some high net worth individual who could take who would own that asset on this person's house. They could take all of the depreciation, all of the tax credits, and they could cash flow that asset for at least 5 years. And so my elevator pitch, as and to the high net worth individual or a tax planner, is that for every dollar that they put into one of our deals, they're going to get $1.50, $1.80, sometimes $2 in tax benefit and cash flow. And I'm happy to get, well, I think we'll get into the nitty gritty of how that all works. But that's really how I got into this into the tax equity space. Was there was a huge need for solar financing, and so anymore now what I do is I we are a financing option for a handful of different solar sales and install companies in Texas, in California, and we provide that financing for a homeowner through a PPA, but the systems themselves are owned by a high net worth individual. So I work exclusively in the tax equity space now. And anyway, I appreciate your patience, James. I know that was a
No,
long bridge to get
no.
here, but it's been
That's
10 years in the
awesome.
making.
It's awesome. I love it. You touched on it a little bit earlier on how, say, maybe someone just getting started out in their career as a W-2, it doesn't make sense for them, maybe a bit of a myth in the solar space. How does it work or benefit for those who are in a W-2 position and getting solar? It is beneficial for them compared to maybe someone who's just getting started out, doesn't have enough income where it actually offsets and it helps them out.
Oh, I think like I said, for most people, I would not buy solar on your personal residence. You can't depreciate it. It's not a business asset. If the cost of electricity is relatively low in your neck of the woods, I probably wouldn't do it, to be perfectly honest with you. Uh, but with our model, this really broadens the base for people who do want to get solar. They could get it. They get a solar lease. But if but let me shift gears just a little bit. Um, Solar makes absolute perfect sense on the on the investment side. Let's say so. Uh, let's say I'm talking to a doctor, and let's say he has and he let's say he's a surgeon. He's got $1 million tax bill, and I come to him. I'm going to show him this strategy. And like I said, we'll get into the nitty gritty. We'll get into the nuts and bolts. But essentially, I'm going to say, okay, you've got $1 million tax bill. By the way, I'm not doing any tax advising or whatever. I've already talked to his CPA. CPA has said, hey, I think this is a good strategy for you. You talk to Dan, and he can build out a portfolio for you. But essentially, instead of making that $1 million payment to the IRS, he can spend the 550 and put that towards these solar deals, and he is going to net that he's going to save that $1 million in taxes that he was otherwise going to go to the IRS.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
to tie this in to all of our listeners, we've had a chance to work together, and a lot of what you do is getting in front and making connections with CPAs, making connections with tax professionals, tax planners. Now we're getting into a different space, but for those listening, how can everyone benefit from having a relationship with you? I want to hear from your words how the listeners could benefit from working with you, because this is not just about solar. This goes wider to the listeners and the service you offer and how it really complements a lot of CPAs and tax planners out there in the US.
absolutely, absolutely. I told my story. I'm not a tax professional. I don't offer tax advice or I don't file. I don't do anything like that. However, I am I I make tax professionals look like the hero to their clients. I that like I, most tax professionals are really good at knowing the law. And it's hard business. Like the tax law changes every year, and it's thousands of pages long, and just to keep up with all of that is a lot. But what tax professionals really love about working with me is I show them a strategy. It's very simple. It's tax credits, it's depreciation, cash flows, it's business ownership, and that all of these deductions and credits and incentives all passes through to a high net worth individual's personal return. So instead of you doing the math on, hey, this doctor's tax bill is like, hey, what's the damage? Oh, it's $1 million. But hey, I've recently partnered with tax equity professionals, and through this strategy, they can save you 45% on your overall tax bill. And it's not going to cost you anything more than what you were otherwise going to pay anyways. So that if you, I know that most CPAs are not huggers. They're not lovey people for the most part. They're numbers folks. But I'd imagine that their clients would be so excited
Yeah.
and want to hug their CPA or their tax professional because you were able to open them up to a strategy like this that saves them a massive amount of money on the money that was otherwise gone.
Yeah. I love how you mentioned like you're the knight behind the scenes making, like you said, everyone else look really good. It's your strategy that you're passing on to who you partner up with, the other CPAs, tax professionals. They get to deliver that good news to their client, helps them save an extra 450K. It's certainly not couch change. And then they're happy, you're happy, and it's a great program. It's a great strategy you guys are running. Um, you mentioned there saying in your example helping a doctor save about 450K. You've helped clients in counting save more than 40 million in taxes. Can you share one story, no names needed, that really shows what's possible? Like what are one of the best wins or the largest tax savings that stands out to you from when you've been doing this?
I've been able to help a lot of people. And I think what a lot of, like I said, what a lot of tax professionals like about this is that it works for W-2 income, capital gains, 1099. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I was at a conference this last week in it was for mergers and acquisitions, and I'll get to some specific examples that way, but I want to talk just real broadly, real quick. Like if somebody's selling their business, and then and let's be real, most business owners or most founders they're visionaries. They love building the business. They love getting to the next thing or whatever. They generally don't plan their exits ahead of time or really structure themselves accordingly. Which it was, so at this conference, that's what these professionals do. They help strategize, plan for the future, and position these founders for their big exit. So as part of their overall planning, or after the fact, it's like, oh crap, now I have a $10 million tax. Yeah, awesome! I sold my company for $22 million. This is amazing. Now I've got this $8 million tax bill.
Oh,
That's it's it's kind of devastating, and some deals fell through. And I talked to a lot of folks because of the massive tax burden that was incurred at the time of sale. So it can help in so many different ways. But yeah, just this last year, I we I I helped a guy in that very situation. He literally had a $2 million tax bill. Sold his business, didn't really do much planning, I had some I had a handful of projects left over from tw that in 20 from 2024 that qualified for a 2024 credit. The He came and talked to me in like March of this year, and he's like, "Hey, I've got this big tax bill. Is there anything you can do for me?" I'm like, "It just so yes." Oh, kind of. So I had these deals that were started in 2024. They qualified for the 2024 credit. But and so he was able to safe harbor those credits for last year. And even though he purchased those deals in 2025, they qualify for 2024 credits, and depreciation, was applied in 2025. But anyway, we were able to save him a massive amount of taxes that for somebody who didn't do any planning and and again made like we were behind the scenes, but really uh his CPA looked like the hero.
That's so cool. $2 million. You like what? Tell me a little bit about like what is that feeling like when that finally gets across the line and you see the look on your client's face or your client's face and they've saved all this money. Like that's got to feel amazing.
It does. It does. Well, I think about it. I've been rich, I've been poor, and and kind of everywhere in between. And you think about it, if somebody's in the top tax bracket, they're paying 37% just in federal income taxes. And let's say they live in California, it's an additional 13% of state income taxes if they're in that top bracket. So 50 cents of every dollar they make goes to the government in some form or fashion before they ever even see it. I mean, that's so demoralizing. And I'm and politically speaking, I'm probably about as far to the right as you can possibly go. Like I know in our economy that and not everybody agrees with me on this, but we are better stewards of our resources, of our hard-earned money. I earn this money. I'm going to be way more intentional about how this uh, how how this gets invested, how this I can goes back into my company. I can pay my employees better. I can do so much more with this money the government can't for special programs or some senators vacation or what have you. Like no, like there's it's the money is better, is just better leveraged in the minds of those who earned it in the first place. So yes, it feels really good. This is a perfect alignment with who I am and my personal values.
Nice. That's awesome. I, as you're talking about the different percentages, I just can't help but laugh in pain being from Canada and what our tax brackets are and how much of our money goes back to the government before we even see it. And unfortunately, there's just not like nearly as many opportunities as in the US for tax reduction strategy. So as much as I enjoy, hearing this, it's also a little painful being north of the border.
Yeah, I don't know,
Uh,
and that's a boot,
Pardon?
but
Yeah.
I'm just Canada. Eh?
Um,
Lame dad jokes. My bad, James. My
it's
bad.
all good. It's all good. The, for the CPAs out there, those in the finance space who aren't offering, say, tax strategy or who aren't doing anything with tax, but it's a big opportunity for them to still make a lot of revenue for their firm because their clients are looking for it. What should they be looking for criteria wise for, say, either tax equity pros or like another like what should they be looking for when it comes to a tax strategist so that they can help their clients win and in return they win?
It's a great question. There's lots of tax strategies out there. There's oil and gas. There's tribal credits. There's whatever. Like it's a big world out there. I and there's pros and cons to everything. Um, I I think in my in my experience, most CPAs want something that, for one, makes sense, has low audit risk that way, and is because, gosh, the worst thing that a tax professional, his biggest nightmare is to create a headache or just problems with the IRS down, in the future. Yeah, we want to save money, but we also don't want to fight. We don't want to create unnecessary drama in our lives or in our clients' lives, right? And so I tease my tax attorney that he couldn't go to a real law school, and so he just ended up going to Harvard. He doesn't think that that joke's funny, but I think it's hilarious. But anyway, my tax attorney is like, I've met with a lot of attorneys. He's really good. He spends most of the year in Puerto Rico for tax reasons, I'm sure. But we've got a 40-page opinion letter that backs up every inch of this strategy, and make sure that everybody structures things appropriately. I've done this for over 100 individuals. It's never it's triggered an audit. I have had two people get audited as part of that this was looked at and audited as an overall. But yeah, it was open close, deal. We've never had any of these tax incentives clawed back. Never, not once. And so, anyway, so our CPAs can really feel good about what it is that they're presenting. They also are not disappointed with the incentives that we provide the CPA, as well as we share in those in those upsides as well. So everybody wins. If it's not win-win, it's no deal.
That's awesome. I love that. That's great advice. Um, reaching out to high net worth individuals, not an easy task. They're hard to get a hold of at times. What's been the toughest part of getting in front of the right people to for them to be aware of your service?
Oh, great question. Great question. Honestly, I don't do any marketing or contact high net worth individuals directly anymore. I just don't. For one, they don't they don't understand their own tax situation well enough to be able to say uh what's an appropriate amount or investment for that works well for them. And also, like they don't understand the tax code well enough. They like my biggest objection, which is, I still don't know how to really get past, is man, sounds amazing. This sounds too good to be true. I never ever get that from a CPA who understands how tax credits work, how depreciation works, or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, 5 minutes. They get it, but just like that. And so anyway, so my challenge anymore is just trying to get in front of more CPAs, more tax strategists who understand the law and are proactive, that want to add and provide more value to their clients. That and then when they refer that doctor or their businessman or what have you, they because I don't have any credibility. Right? They don't know me from Adam. They don't like that. So, but if their CPA says, "Hey, I would recommend doing this. This would be a good fit. It would save you this much. Are you interested in talking to this other group that I'm partnered with?" Then that they feel good about it. You feel good about it. That I keep saying this, but everybody wins. There's just no downside.
Nice. That's great. Uh, what's one money habit you wish more high income earners would adopt right now? And then we'll get into a couple rapid fire questions, and then we'll tie a bow on this.
Okay. Okay. So say your question one more time. I want to make sure. What's
For
one
sure.
money habit?
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
probably could have reworded that differently, not give you the question and then ramble on for a little bit afterwards. So that's my bad.
You're good.
What's one money habit you wish more high income earners would adopt right now?
I think if okay, some high income earner, if you're not meeting with your tax strategist at least 2 or 3 times a year, you're losing money. If you're not planning ahead, if you're not being proactive about about some kind of strategy that mitigates, it, that's just silly, especially in some places when you're being taxed at essentially a 50% rate if you live in a blue state. Like how discouraging that is. Like okay, you could make way more money and be taxed at 50 cents on the dollar, or how about we cut your effective tax rate by 45%. What's good what's going to be better leverage for your time and energy? I mean,
It's a no-brainer.
that's just silly.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. I'm trying not to just put more plugs into this, but like because there's other things we can talk about, but there's nothing that's going to have a bigger effect on your bottom line than being proactive about your own personal tax strategy. It's just silly.
Yeah. Perfect. What's one book or podcast you recommend to anyone who's serious about money?
Let's circle back to that one. I'm gonna put us. I
Okay.
I wish I would have had the rapid fire. So much for rapid fire when I take a deep breath and I can't.
All right, we're still in the rapid fire
How
round here,
about this
Dan.
one? How about the CFO Chronicles? How about that?
Perfect. Thanks for the plug.
Nice plug.
I'm sure there's others out there that probably a little bit higher that people could do for listen to that are serious about money. Um, what's one practical step listeners could take this year to shrink their tax bill if they haven't been listening for the last 35 minutes?
What's one thing that they could do to reduce their tax bill for
Yeah,
this year? Okay, I've been here talking about my strategy for this long time, and I honestly can't think of anything else
that's okay.
that would be better.
We've
So,
we've gone we've gone in depth why the solar tax credit is so great. So, last one here. Who's someone in finance or business that you're learning from today?
um, there's this group that I found a few years ago after I I bought my house that they were touting uh you could pay off your house in 5 to 7 years with making no additional money or whatever. I'm like, that
Interesting.
sounds suspicious. But it's this group called the Replace Your Mortgage, and they've got other stuff like replace your university, your like, and it's all. And I'm not getting paid for this, and so maybe I shouldn't promote them too hard. But anyway, but as far as book or podcast or whatever, I I've gotten a lot of value out of this group. I paid for a membership a few years ago and learned about uh, different strategies for paying your home off, quickly, and other investment stuff. And so essentially, one of their strategies is to instead of having a mortgage, you would have a first position home equity line of credit that you would treat like but you would use it like your checking account. So you'd get your paycheck and you put it into your HELOC and you use it like a checking account, but all the while, whatever money is sitting in your savings account or your checking account or whatever, it's since you're not earning any interest on it, it's actually kind of a liability because it's just sitting there. It's not working. It's not doing anything. But if it's sitting in your HELOC, it's driving the principal down during the month. It's gonna and the balance is gonna fluctuate, but it's calculated on simple interest, not compound interest like a mortgage is. So just taking that strategy, spending less than what you make and have all of your money sitting in your HELOC versus in low or no interest bearing accounts, that strategy alone will shave off decades from off of a 30-year mortgage. And I just thought, gosh, that is so brilliant. That's so simple. Why doesn't everybody do that? And so when I say earlier about mortgages being a scam, gosh, like a little bit of proactivity on just little daily habits that people have make an enormous difference, over the long term. And let's say you have a paid off mortgage, you're sitting on 400K or whatever it is of liquidity that way. How easy would it be to purchase an investment property or in a, or a business or some kind of limited partnership that way? Gosh, there's so much you can do, but you just can't do what everybody else does. You're not going to get ahead. You never will.
I love that.
Anyway,
Last one for you, Dan. I like to end all of our podcasts with this question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I'm gonna go to Michael Scott at the office.
Oh, please,
Don't be
please
an
do.
idiot. Don't be an idiot. Changed my life. Hurts my feelings every time.
Don't be an idiot, Michael Scott. Love it. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, sharing all of your insight, your knowledge. It's always great chatting with you. But how can people get in touch with you if they want to continue the conversation? They want to see what it'd be like to potentially work with you and help their clients win more by being connected with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out our website. It's taxequitypros.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. It's my name is Dan Lake. I think it's Tax Equity Pros. Dan dash Lake 145 is my short URL at LinkedIn. Pretty sure that's what it is. But
Perfect.
yeah, anyway, yeah, love to chat.
Awesome. We'll put the links in the show notes, Dan, so people can get in touch. Again, can't thank you enough for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, James. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. I hope you found value in today's conversation. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to do two things. First, make sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please rate and review the show. It helps others discover the insights we share here. Second, if you're ready to take your business to the next level and attract the high-end clients you deserve, head over to accountingleadsnow.com or click the link in the show notes to book your strategy call. It's time to position yourself as the advisor your clients need. And don't forget, you can connect with me on LinkedIn to stay up to date on what's happening in the world of accounting and financial growth. We've got exciting topics coming up, so stay tuned for the next episode of CFO Chronicles. Until then, keep pushing forward. Your growth is just one strategic move away.
Thanks for listening to CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. We hope today's episode provided valuable strategies to help you attract more high-paying clients. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share with fellow professionals. Connect with us on LinkedIn and leave a review or comment to join the conversation. Your feedback helps us bring you the best insights in finance and marketing. Until next time, keep striving for success and unlocking your business's potential.